Nation, from all things Nissan here in my studios to wherever you're watching us around the globe, this is your Nissan Nation, and I'm your host, David Boyd. So today, you read the title, you know what it's about. This is the top 5 Nissans that, in our opinion, kind of were the key points of the 1990s, and Nissan needed a lot of help in the 90s because there was some highs, and there were some way lows that took us well deep into the 2000s. So let's get into this. But first, if you have not yet, like and subscribe to the channel. When you smash that subscribe button, it lets the people that need to know more about us, they find us that way. And it lets Nissan and anybody else that you guys want us to talk with, lets them know, hey, we need to talk to these people. So, Alright, so number 5 here is the 240SX. Us in the United States got it as the 240SX. Around the world, it was known as a few different things. The one that everybody likes it known as is the Sylvia. Now, this is an S chassis. You get the 13 or the 14, and I'm not going to get into details about which because it was so minor. But this had the legendary KA24DE little 4-cylinder, and it's like a near indestructible engine. Like it just, you could do so much with it, and for the size of it, make a lot of power. But in its day, it was actually kind of known as the dog initially. Like Car and Driver and Motor Trend, all these people kind of dogged on the engine saying this little thing was so underpowered. But I think we all know what could happen in the future with this little thing. But this car was really cool. And in my childhood, I grew up with this car. This was an affordable Nissan at the time. Nissan had the 300ZX, and it's well documented how that overpriced that thing was. But we got this this chassis that was a little more affordable, and especially once it hit the used scene, it was like pretty affordable. And then once it hit the drift scene, you know, it really became like one of the top cars because it was still a rear-wheel drive car where everything was starting to go front-wheel drive. This little thing chugged it out, and it made our list at number 5. All right, number 4 here is the Nissan Frontier, and you might be going, Dave, why is a pickup truck making this list? Because in our last list, you know, we had the old 720 series in there. It's because pickup trucks has always been a game changer from the Nissan brand here in the United States, and this one was it was where Nissan was starting to go. You know, the hard bodies had those real sharp lines, and they were just, you know, it was a unique looking vehicle, and this one was, well, let's soften it just a little bit and try to make it more for everybody. And this little truck sold well. Now, it never sold what the actual hard bodies. The hard bodies actually sold well into the 200,000s a year, where this one, the numbers started dropping down, but at this time this truck came out, you started getting a lot more serious competition. Well, Nissan said, all right, hold my beer. Let's add 4 doors to that thing, and let's make this really cool. And this was a game changer for the brand. Now, you know, everybody jumped suit to this, and everybody wanted a piece of the 4-door truck market. Chevrolet and everybody they couldn't go fast enough once they learned that there was going to be a 4-door pickup truck. And Nissan was one of the first to the market with this thing, and sold very, very well, and really has influenced the truck market now to what it is today because nobody offers a 2-door model anymore. They've all either went to king cabs or crew cabs, and the Frontier started it all. So that is number 4. All right, number 3, and you might be looking at yourself going, Dave, that's a 2000 Nissan Xterra, and you would be correct, except for the fact that Nissan was so gung-happy to sell this thing, they started selling it in the late spring of 99. That's right, the Nissan Xterra was sold in 99, so it just squeaks to our list of influential vehicles of the 90s. Now, whether it be the unique take of the roof or what, the Nissan Xterra was just a unique vehicle. It came out with a unique name, and it got a lot of attention. It got so much attention that Nissan was selling more of this than they anticipated its first year, and they had to bump up manufacturing on this thing because it was such a hit for Nissan. Now, with the slogan, everything you need, nothing you don't, you weren't getting a lot of options with this vehicle. Side steps, maybe a Rockford Fosgate radio, and that was about it. It was an honest vehicle. It was made to go on adventures. It was made to get dirty, and dirty's what it did. Now, this thing was all through the 2000s, and we'll get into that probably later down the road, but your Nissan Xterra was just, it was just an honest SUV, and something I think we need more nowadays. So that is number 3. All right, number 2 is the Nissan Altima, and yes, the Nissan Altima is number 2 on our list of top 5 cars of the 90s for Nissan. And you're like, why is that? I remember my grandmother driving something like that, or my parents had one like that. Why is that? It was because this car was an actual hit for Nissan right out of the gate. At the time, Nissan had the Maxima and the Stanza, and Stanza was just like, even though the Stanza you could get in a Altima version, it never was a hit like the Altima was for whatever reason. I don't know if it's car names just sometimes stand out better or what, but the Altima actually helped Nissan keep the plant here in Smyrna, Tennessee going, and it was just an honest car. You could get manual windows in this thing, you could get a manual transmission, and it was just a brutally honest car. It was, if you needed a nice commuter car, this is what you were going to get, and they sold a ton of them. That's right, Nissan sold quite a few of this thing, and it made it through 2 generations in the 90s, and as you can see, it started getting a little more refined. You were getting power windows and stuff that you could get in the other one, but it was kind of becoming standard now, and was just a nice little car. You know, it came with a nice suspension, and it drove well, and that was a big thing that Nissan needed at the time. You know, 4-door cars were starting to come. People were going away from coupes, and they wanted 4-door cars, much like SUVs. They were going into that. They just needed a car that you could easily fit all your family in, and this thing was a hit, and that is number 2. All right, at number 1, if you like twin turbos and an RB motor, this car was for you. The Nissan Skyline Gtr. This was the ultimate Nissan driving experience at the time. This car was so cool, it had a computer in it. Like, you could literally like calculate things on it would give you times, which was like crazy at the time because Lamborghini or nobody at the time was offering anything like that. And this car has always been for Nissan. It's always been the pinnacle of like, this is where the company is at. And at the time, this car was freaking amazing. Now, this car was made popular by movies like The Fast and the Furious and video games, Need for Speed. This car was a poster on most people's bedrooms. If you were dreaming of driving in the early 2000s or late 90s, this car was on your wall, and for good reason. It's a great looking car. It was aggressive. It still was muscular looking, and the name like GTR, how could you not? Now, it came in a bunch of cool colors, and Nissan was really, like, they knew how to paint this car, whether it be from the cool purple color, these blue colors, the silver. This car always got attention, and as it should, all through the 90s, whether it be the R33 or 34, these cars were amazing and deserves to be number 1 because this car kept Nissan on people's minds all through the 2000s when maybe they weren't building such cool cars. So, R34 is number 1. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree with my list? Do you have your own list? Put your top 5 list of cars that were the most influential of the 90s for the Nissan brand. Put it in our list, and let's see how we all stack up. So, from all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to wherever you are watching us around the globe, this is your Nissan Nation, and this has been your top 5 list. I'm your host, David Boyd. Peace, everybody.